morning. All right. It might be too early to be that loud. I'm pretty sure it definitely is too early. Good morning. It's Tuesday. Oh God, let me get situated. What is up? What's up? Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? It's Tuesday, and I'm here early. Really early. Way too early. I got all psyched up to go see this moon this morning, and I might show you the skies here in a second. Hold on. So this is the visibility. All right, see how nasty it is outside? Yeah, we ain't gonna see the moon today. So everybody else got to see the blood moon, not me. So I got up all early, and then I was being loud, so I was keeping Dolly up. So then I was like, I can't go back to sleep, because then I basically would be like trying to wake up. And you know how like if you wake up too early and then you have to go to sleep again, and it's like you go back to sleep, but then when you wake up, it's like you didn't get the full 8 hours, because you technically didn't, because it was like 2 hours or so. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. So then I stayed up, and yeah. So I left the house. I'm just like driving around aimlessly. I got my coffee. I went to see if I could go to like an open space where I could possibly see the moon. No. It's like the ultimate foggiest day of all the year ever. It's so foggy. So yeah. So I'm here with you guys. Thank you, Carmela. I love it. I love the little gifts. They're my favorite. I'm on the west coast. The blood moon is amazing. It's 4 a.m. Been up since 3 a.m. You guys can see it over there. That's awesome. You know, they said that on the west coast it was going to peak at 3:33. And I'm like, what? The March 3rd. So 3/3/2026. And then if it peaked at 3:33, now that's weird. That's crazy. Dolly just got on me about my coffee, because I'm supposed to be dieting. We've been going to the gym. It actually feels so good. I remember why I really sometimes like to exercise. Most of the time I'm too lazy, but it feels a lot better daily. But every day I've been drinking my coffee still, and just drinking water, and then just water after that. And then just kind of watching what I eat. He's been kind of making dinner for us, and it's really amazing. I have the best boyfriend ever. But that's neither here nor there. My dad died 3/3/13, and 3:33 is my lucky number. Wow. See, I don't believe in coincidences. And a number 3 definitely signifies something. I'm not really sure what it does, but I'd have to remember it, and I don't. But just synchronicities, things that line up the way they line up. I don't know. I'm weird. I really like pay attention to little things and little details and numbers and words. And it's like in the Bible it says in the beginning was the Word, and then like there's so many different words that are similar. I'm about to go off into a full-blown rabbit hole. You guys better buckle up. Like, seriously. You're buckled? Okay. Words. Like, let's say hurts. If something hurts you, it pains you, right? But if there's frequency, then it's also hurts. But the frequency hurts can cause hurt. Right? And I don't like saying things like good morning, because mourning is like sorrow when you're mourning somebody. So it's almost like good sorrow. Wasn't it like the old English language where they would say good sorrow? Where am I thinking of that? It's so strange. So weird. Like good morning. Good sorrow. Like have a good cry today. Oh, God. He died on his kids' birthdays. Man. You can't see it in North Carolina either, Nikki. Yeah. It's on the East Coast. It's basically just clouded over. I don't think we'll ever get to see anything. Hey, Pit Road Mama. Hey, Poppy Red Mustang. Good to see you guys. Let's see. Who else did I miss? I didn't see a moon red. Let's see. I'm on the West Coast. I saw that. Hey, Mr. Helena, good morning. Hey, Cable, good to see you, Cable. Hey, Miss Donna. Annie is okay. It's called the Worm Blood Moon. I don't know why. I think that's like the Farmer's Almanac where they named the moons. I always wondered that because there's like a wolf moon, there's a pink moon, a beaver moon. I don't know if that's basically, there's got to be a reason. I don't know what I was going to say, but there's got to be a reason. So, hey, Helena, good to see you. Let's see. Gray Wolf, good to see you. No moon here, cloudy. Yep, it's so cloudy here. You can barely see. And the fog is somewhat thick. You can barely see your hand in front of your face. But yeah. So today is going to be Michael Vaughn's pre-trial for Stacey Wondra. I'm really excited about that. We're really looking for justice for Michael Monkey Vaughn. I wish they would just tell us where he is so we can have some closure on this case. His family can have closure. Snow on the ground. Oh my word. Also today, I think the mother and stepfather of Rebecca Park. No, actually that's on the 6th. Michael's case for Stacey Wondra is from the 3rd until the 6th. Thank you, Poppy Red Mustang. My makeup looks good this morning. I just got here and kind of did it. I wanted to do it with you guys, and then I started playing music, and then I almost forgot that I had a live set up. So I was literally over here, I'm in love with the stripper, putting my makeup on, and then I'm like, oh, and then Dolly called, and then I was like, oh, I have a live set up. I didn't even really pay attention to what time it was. Greetings, PJ, in chat from Sours, France. Cool. Awesome. I was born in Croatia, and I believe I've been to France, but I'm not sure. I've definitely been to Italy. I want to go to France. That sounds pretty. That just sounds fancy. France. But yeah, definitely keep Brandy and her family in your prayers today. Also, Rebecca Park, I was trying to talk about that for a second. The mother and the stepfather, they admitted to basically... Actually, no. Did they admit it? They got caught because their lies were caught. Thank you, Helena. If you got a membership from Helena, please tell her thank you. But Rebecca Park was the girl in Michigan who was pregnant. And she hadn't kept up with her mother, her biological mother. And then they got to know each other and started becoming close again. And they lured her to the house and then cut out her baby and unalived her as well. So that pre-trial is this week, I believe on the 6th. Steffers, was it the 6th? So yeah, that's another one that's going to go on right now. There was some other stuff that was going on. I believe, is it Rebecca Haro? No. I thought there was another case going on, but I don't know. I'm not certain. And so yeah. There's those two things going on as far as court cases. We're still following the Nancy Guthrie case because why not? When Dolly was watching the interview of the man, Luke Daly, last night, I could not help but to see several things that he said as extremely problematic. When he talks, usually when I'm very certain or very passionate about something that I want to tell you guys, I can flow a sentence quite easily. So I can sit here and say, hey guys, I want to tell you about this and this and this. You know, Michael Monkey Vaughn, he's been missing from 2021, Fruitland, Idaho. You know, see how I can flow it and I can tell you, just spit out the facts. Hey, this is what's going on. And then if I'm not so certain, like with the Rebecca Park case, I don't recall all the details, so I don't want to sit here and tell you something that I don't know. And so you listen to me speak on that case, and it's like, yeah, Rebecca Park, and I have spots of where I'm not certain of what I'm saying. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because this Luke Daly guy was saying quite a lot. And if how do I want to say this? I don't want to flat out call him a flat out liar, but I do at the same time, because it's like you're saying way too much. So is it like, is he overly nervous? Is he just not sure of what he's saying? Was he really present? Like, was he on drugs? Like, how do we know that he's telling the truth? Well, he's not saying it very boldly. He's not saying it like he's not saying it like he's certain of what happened or that he was there. And then, so that was my problem first. Luke Daly, Nancy Guthrie case. How is he connected to this, to where, first of all, how did they even cut, like, what made them catch him? Or what made them pick him up? Other than supposedly cell pings? He was not telling the truth at all, Miss Donna. And so then he basically hangs himself and is like, yeah, when I saw the FBI, I thought, okay, this has got to be something with the Nancy Guthrie case or the Guthrie case. And I'm like, what? If I got pulled over right now, like if a bunch of cops and then FBI came out right here, right now, the last thing, well, I'm not in Arizona, so I guess, I mean, you know, it's the big case going on right there and right then, but the absolute last thing that I would think of, even if I was in Arizona, was me being hemmed up, which I've never been, that's never happened. So, like, it's hard for me to relate, I guess. But that's the last thing that I would think about, would be, oh, this must be related to Nancy Guthrie. Because, like, no ma'am, not me. Never have I ever. And so it's like, sir, why would you say that? And his mother says it too. So I'm like, did he have his mother involved? Does his mother know something? Because she just seemed like she wasn't certain with what she was saying either, really. And then when she said, oh, this must have been Nancy Guthrie. And I'm like, what? That's why they don't recommend that you go on television and do interviews if you're possibly guilty or not guilty or what, like, they just went up there and just told it all. Like, I just can't even, like, in what world do you get pulled over and have a history of, you know, rugs and whatever else, but you get pulled over, and instead of thinking like, okay, maybe they're thinking that I have rugs again, or maybe they're thinking, you know, this rug deal that went bad over here had something to do with me, or maybe like something relating to him. So, like, he didn't sit there and say, oh, well, I got pulled over, and so I figured it might have something to do with some bad drug deal somewhere, or it might have something to do with something else, anything other than Nancy Guthrie, because even though it is the biggest story that's going on right then and there in that area, I wouldn't be involved in that. Like, what? Why would they do an interview after hiring an attorney? That's a good question. Because usually the attorney would want to be present, or the attorney would speak for the client. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe somebody convinced them that they needed to get out in front of it and talk. So basically, they got out in front of it and talked. But it didn't look, it wasn't the big positive they thought it would be. They just looked a lot more guilty. And the other guy, it was on Twitter. There was an account that made the two videos together. It just mashed up the part about the Carlos interview and the Luke interview. And Carlos never said anything about Nancy Guthrie. He never said, you know, hey, I figured this was about Nancy Guthrie case. They should have taken him a mask and made him put it on. Bet you he wouldn't have. Plus, he would have looked a little bit different, because clearly he was clean shaven. He was all dressed up fancy, and he was speaking proper, like as if he's never been in trouble a day in his life, even though we've seen his record. And then he was like, I don't know, Kayla Day, like, weren't you guys arrested together before? So, like, you just commit crimes with people you don't know? Or how does that work? It's weird. Can I ask why the landfill is not searched more? The landfill, I don't even know, was searched for real. The helicopter that was going above the landfill was while Dolly was still there. And I was looking into it. And from what I saw, you know how every now and then there's people that come out and survey the land? Like right now, when I drive down to go to work, there's a bunch of people with their poles and have like their materials where they're measuring the land. I was told when I went looking into the helicopter, love you too, babe, that they were surveying the property. But then I was thinking, like, why would they just be surveying the landfill? It was literally doing clear grid marks with the helicopter over the landfill. And so then when we looked into the helicopter, it was a privately owned helicopter. And I'm thinking, okay, it could still be surveying, or it could be, you know, a private helicopter hired to do the search over the grave or the landfill trash place with the private helicopter. So the attorney gave an interview with Brian. He said the mother ran into Nancy years ago and had a brief encounter, but the mother said flat out she didn't know Nancy, never met her. Wow. That's crazy. That's what I mean. And that's why it's really, really hard. If you're a really bad person and you're very good at lying, you may want to do these types of interviews. But for the most part, I wouldn't even suggest it, even if you think that you're great at lying, because naturally your brain wants to tell the truth. And so when you speak, you could technically still tell the truth, because subconsciously you can't really prevent yourself from spitting out stuff that's true. There's several examples of so many different cases we followed where the person will come live and talk about things, or go on to channels and talk to people and say things, and then they try to rewind what they say, because naturally your brain wants to say the truth. But when they can't rewind things, it's kind of like, well, you definitely said that. I heard you say that. So why did you say it? Well, you know, I didn't mean to, and I was misspeaking. And there's only but so many things you can misspeak about. And so, do you know Nancy or not, Miss Daly Chapman, whatever her name was? But we'll never know. Clearly, those people were liars. And then he starts out by saying his mom has AFib. Okay, so she's got a heart condition, and he's worried about his mom. Okay, well, shouldn't you have thought of that when you made her go and participate, or when you made her do this interview? Like, it's wild. Ashley said new cameras are up going into Annie's neighborhood. Brandy's going so hard, she's the example. Yes, Brandy Vaughn is the prime example of what a parent of a missing child should be, how they should act, what they should do. Everything about Brandy Vaughn is literally the prime example of a parent that's got a missing child, period. She will always be my number one example. That woman is stronger than anybody I've ever met. And she still has the ability to come to you and tell you, hey, remember, chin up, tits up, you know, like just encouragement words. And I find that so amazing and so admirable, because, you know, we should be telling her that every day, all of us. Like, how do you freaking wake up and put your feet on the ground? Because I couldn't imagine. And that little baby looks just like her. She said in her interview that she hopes that Stacy Wonder looks at her and sees Michael. And I guarantee you he will, because she looks just like Michael. Well, Michael looks just like her. But ultimately, she is just the prime example of what a mother is, will be, was, always will be. I mean, I just can't even understand how she functions every day. I can't imagine. I wouldn't be able to do it. But I love those cat ears. Any little thing I go through, I think of her, and I'm not kidding. Yeah, it reminds you to be thankful for things. Whenever you see other people going through bad stuff, it's like all of the little problems that you think that you have, it's just, it doesn't even compare even a tiny bit. So it's like, it reminds you to be humble and not be so negative, and not be so just, I'm always a Debbie Downer for some reason. I think it's hereditary because my mom and my dad are sometimes that way, and so I always just, I gotta blame somebody. But it's easier to be negative than it is to try and force a positive out there. But when you can relate to other people and you see, you know, how they deal with things and how they're dealt a worse hand than you are, it's I mean, is that, let's see, and what was that? I thought I saw something that I was trying to respond to. Tea Time Sleuth, thank you. I actually put on makeup this morning. I left the house early. I woke up early. I'm going to be really tired later, but I was wanting to see the blue moon. And it's so foggy out here. You can't really see in front of your face very good. So there's that idea, but I didn't want to go back to sleep because I thought that I wouldn't wake up and, you know, all that good stuff. So here I am. And I was actually going to put makeup on with you guys here because sometimes I used to do that before, put makeup on. But then I was like, you know what? I don't want to scare them off the bat. If I started the stream without makeup on, you guys would have just had the jump scare of your life. But so then I started putting makeup on and I was listening to music and I forgot how much I really enjoy music. But imagine that. So I was like sitting around here. I got here really early. Like I literally woke up at like 5:30, which is not like me at all. But it was great. So I'm here. I'm on time. I am makeuped up. And thank you, Sage. Yeah, thank you. Please give the thumbs up. If you are on your phone, all you gotta do is just double tap it like this. And it should like the video. It looks like there's 120 and only 60 likes. Happy you guys are holding out on me. We have rain and sleet in PA, so no moon for us. Yeah, the whole East Coast got gypped. It's rude. How rude. I've been making myself listen to music lately. Awesome. I'm glad your son's home. Tea Time Sleuth. I was going to say your name, and then it sounded all jumbled in my head, so I didn't say it. So I stopped and thought about what I was saying. Tea Time Sleuth. It's like a tongue twister. Anyways. Thank you. Thank you for liking my video. But yeah, for the most part, that's all the cases I've been really into. Then there's the little girl that's still missing in Enterprise, Alabama. The little girl named Genesis Nova Reed is her full name. She was 2 years old. She was about to be 3 in March. And her mother is still locked up, but she's asking for a bond reduction, which I really don't believe she should have. But I think per law, you have to have like some type of fair way to get out, which doesn't even make sense. Like if you're not telling us where your kid is and you're the last person that had your kid and you're being held in court for lying about where your kid is or filing a report about your missing kid, I don't think you should have any fair justices of getting a cheap priced bond. Like you should just have to sit there. So I got to see what happens with that, because if that lady gets out, I'm going to be really mad. She needs to stay in there. She needs to tell us where her kid is. Because again, she's another Casey Anthony. Her kid went missing in the middle of the night, allegedly. And no clue where she went. Thank you, Helena. Look at the cool balloon. Woo! And somehow she got one of the best attorneys. I don't understand how these people get top-notch attorneys. The lady in Alabama got a good attorney. Well, dagnabbit. I mean, even with a good attorney, I really don't think that people that unalive their children or harm their children should get off. Like, I get that, all right, a lesser sentence or some type of help, fine. But at the most part, you still have to suffer the consequences of your actions. I mean, if you are, you know, the caregiver for this 2-year-old child, you're responsible. If for whatever reason an accident occurred, you're still responsible for the accident because you're the caregiver, you're the parent. You're supposed to be responsible for this child. So even if an accident occurred, you still should have some type of penalty occurring to you in an accident. Thank you, Carmela. I got a Sunday. Michelle, I grew up at Talladega and went to college in Montgomery. That's awesome. You guys are both in Alabama. I don't understand why we keep letting anyone who hurts children before, yes, but now with those files dropping, so keeping up with Richard Allen appeal process. No, Helena, I really want to see what happens with Richard Allen and the appeal process. There's some weird stuff going on there. And thank you, my girl. Tiff sent me a happy poop. Richard Allen, it's getting interesting. Okay. For whatever reason, whatever happened with Richard Allen in Delphi, I stirred up some dirt. I got dust flying around me. Richard Allen, for some reason, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. It's, you love my face. Ooh, scary. Love your face too. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, but no, Richard Allen, for whatever reason, I don't think we're going to be allowed to see what happens there. And it doesn't help when the case has such a popularity, but then they don't allow us to see the case. Like, the judge during Richard Allen's trial was taking media camcorders and recorders and things that they had and saved their devices and all the video footage on, and like erasing their video footage. Because why weren't we allowed to see any of that court case? Why couldn't you walk up and, interview the lawyers or talk to the people outside of the court? It's just, there's no reason for there to be that much secrecy, in my opinion. And what are you hiding? And why is there such a weird, I'm not going to say Illuminati, but like some weird, I'm not going to say Luciferian either. Like, I don't even know what to call it. These people that are pagans or they worship Odin. Does that stuff really happen? I mean, I wouldn't think so, but at this point, it does, clearly. And so, because when you have these lawyers that are appointed by the state, and they're writing stuff on documents that are official law documents, which means that, you're under perjury laws. You can't fake anything on those papers unless you're, 100% witness to it. And they're saying things like they're going into this jail, and these guards that are in the jail have some weird Odin patches on them. So it's like, did that really happen? Well, when they got asked that, the prosecutor, or the people representing the prosecution side, basically said, yeah, well, they were wearing them. They were told not to wear them anymore, and therefore now, they don't wear them anymore. And I'm like, they wore them before, though? Was that normal? Do your prison guards at your state, wherever you are, wear patches all over their uniform that represent some type of religious belief? Never have I ever heard of that. Hey, Alba Turtle, good to see you. Yes, they have Odin patches. You mean they had him on the Richard Allen in that jail, right? Not in your town, right? Because that's just weird. I've never heard of that. And I've never heard of anybody that worked in police or in the sheriff's office, which I have a couple of friends that, I've known that are cops. But they're not allowed to alter anything on their uniform. They're not allowed to even have their shirt untucked. They have to wear it a set way. And they have to do certain things with it in order for it to be even a proper uniform where they get sent home. So for you to just be able to add these Odin patches, that's weird. And then I think it goes to Brian is his name, or the father. That was the father seeing Abby. No, that was Brad Holder. I also think that too, because Brad Holder had weird stuff on his Facebook. And, that's of course not going to be it. It's not going to be, he had weird stuff on his Facebook, so therefore he's it. I think that there was some sort of club behind the scenes or on the dark web or somewhere where they all met together. And the guy that it was his property where they were on, what was that guy's name? That guy looked like the bad guy. And that guy's ex, the lady that he was with, before, I don't think it was during the time this happened, but I think it was before that. But she came and did an interview, and she said that the bridge guy sounded exactly like him. Now that I can't remember his name. Thank you, Backwoods Kentucky Ghost Hunters. I've seen that you sent another one. I'm sorry I missed it. And thank you, McDaniel Crew. That guy passed away. Yes. And then what about freaking That said he didn't, and yes, he died in jail. And didn't he say that he, like, did it or something? Something happened to that. Thank you, Helena. Ron Logan, thank you. Ron Logan, his ex literally said it sounded just like him, and that it walked like him, and talked like him, and looked like him. So, like, plus, and then also, the original sketch artist photo, which had the man, like, curly-haired, skinny face, young looking, suddenly that wasn't allowed to be shown at trial because it didn't go along with their narrative. So, like, this entire time, up until 5 years when Richard Allen was picked up and convicted, they were looking for somebody completely different, that looked completely different, didn't have any, like, it was a young guy. Even the witnesses said that it was a tall, younger guy. Okay, so now it's just Richard Allen. I mean, I'm not fully convinced that Richard Allen didn't participate, but in my opinion, I think that there's no way possible humanly ever that he could have done it alone, because he would have had to walk through water with two young ladies, and then he would have had a certain amount of time to put them in the way that they were. He would have had, there just would have been other things. There's no actual real evidence. I can't believe we got to talking about Richard Allen, because that just when you think that it's, like, over, the case is still just basically starting. And he got an appeal, which is, I'm shocked. I thought they were just going to lock him up and throw away the key and not let him out ever. And so it's just like, no, it's not your fault. I like talking about stuff like that. It's just like, when I feel frustrated about a case is when I stop really, like, giving it 100%. And that case has always frustrated me, because it's like, we're never going to know what a town is like that's that little if we haven't been there or we haven't participated in the things that go along in that town. I guess what I'm having such a hard time grasping 100% is that there's an area that's got such a cult following. I'm going to call it a cult, but not a cult, but a cult. O-C-C-U-L-T. Hey, Teresa, good to see you. And Claudia, yes, Michelle, do you know Wanda? You guys just know the same people or something? What's going on? You guys are talking about your little towns you live in. That's how I feel about Idaho 4. We can agree to disagree. I'm sorry over that case. Yeah, Idaho 4 was one of the cases too, because where did the blood go? And how did they not find any blood on anybody like Kohberger? And if he wore a Tyvek suit, where did he put it? Because if he took it with him into the car, you would have blood in the car. I mean, I could go all day on that case too. But again, with him, I believe Bryan Kohberger definitely participated. He just may not have done it alone. But I live 2 hours from there, going crazy that they convicted him with no proof, but that's good old Indiana for you. See, what do you think about the Odinism? Because people can't really grasp that there's areas that are that infiltrated with occult beliefs in religion and Odin. In Odin we trust. And guards that have patches with that on their uniforms. I think that's weird. I've been wrapped up in a case here in Georgia all week. Yeah. I get into cases, and then when it gets, like, to a brick wall, I just completely just let it go, because it's basically like, what else can we do? We're not going to be there with them when they do the detective work, so why even bother? It's like there's two sides to every story. The right, the left, your side, my side. The fine line in the middle is where the truth is. So, do we ever really know 100% what the truth of something is? I don't think so. Here in parts of West Virginia, deep West Virginia, are parts of strange groups. I mean, I believe it. I just don't get why or how they were able to... Sorry, I always have to sit on my leg. I don't know why. But I don't know how they were able to pull this off without somebody being like, hey, wait a minute. What's this going on over here? Like, where's the FBI in this case of Richard Allen? And why would they allow somebody to be imprisoned before having a trial? He was in prison. And then they gave him psychotic medications, but then they claimed that he wasn't psychotic, and he's still not psychotic. So, like, hello? Is anybody listening? Verdict Watch today. Oh, that's that, the person's name sounds like Kourtney Kardashian, but it's like Kourtney something. I saw that. The Good Old Boys Club. Yeah, but even with the Good Old Boys Club, there's always like an overseer. Like with Nancy Guthrie's case right now, there's the FBI that's watching everything that the cops are doing and watching the case on top of the regular cops. So, like, why didn't that happen for Richard Allen? Like, why wasn't there somebody on top of the process monitoring, making sure that it's done correctly? That's why we have outward sources that are trying to check the checks. Like, there should be somebody that checks the people that are checking the people, if that makes sense. Colin Gray case. Okay, the psychiatrist was sleuthing during her time, at which, against the rules, she was... Yeah, I agree. She was fully engulfed in the groups. I seen her post in a couple of the groups, well, screenshots of it. And she was participating in the groups while she was giving him counseling. Like, that's pretty weird. Never have I ever. The Good Old Boys Club is very strong in the South. I mean, I understand that. And in smaller areas, I'm sure it happens more than in bigger areas. But I tried not to yawn. Sorry, guys. I know they did bring somebody in from Indianapolis, but I don't know what they did and that the person went back to that city. Wow. Oh, the dad of the school. Pew pew. Oh, okay. There's Verdict Watch. He's the one that got that kid that weapon. Good morning, Ashley. Good to see you. Hey, Pittsburgh nurse. You're late. You're late. I'm going to deduct a point. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, and with Richard Allen, that was another thing. When his attorneys got stripped and taken from him after the state appointed them to him, but, you know, when they didn't like what the attorneys came up with, they decided to take them from him and give him some other attorney. That other attorney was his attorney for a while. And this is the part that got me. This is the part that makes me believe all of it. All of the, they wore Odin patches, they did sacrifices, all that stuff. Like, I full-blown just jumped right into the theory of conspiracy on that one. Because the new attorney... that, mind you, he was friends with Judge Gohl on Facebook and was commenting on her kids' pictures or something. Like, something real weird. Like, so you just picked another person to be appointed to this man that you clearly have some type of bias against. But he got to be his attorney for a while. And Richard Allen... at that point was already just, he went through everything. He was in prison. He was given psychotics, but supposedly he's not psychotic. And then his lawyers are get taken because they're trying to say, hey, there's stuff going on here that nobody knows about that needs to be shown. And so he gets this new lawyer. This lawyer's all fine and dandy now, whatever. And then he's taken off because the other lawyers got instated back to Richard Allen's case, right? So he's only there for a brief time, but he's an outside source that Judge Gohl actually put into the case by her preference after she took the other two men away. And then we watch his interview where he is talking about how what they were saying about Richard Allen and how he was being treated was true. This whole other person who had no rhyme or reason to come up and do any type of interview whatsoever at all, he was that second appointed lawyer, And he's like, yeah, we tried to go to the prison to talk to him, and all we got was like a hole this big. We had to slide papers through, and they wouldn't let us around, and they had cameras, and they were monitoring every time he got on the phone. They were standing behind him and watching. Like, he said all of the things, and he's the one that even said the Odinism stuff. So I want to know if it's true that he was told you can't see his wife unless he confesses. I know that he basically said on his phone call that he'd say and do whatever so that this would be done. Didn't the judge retire? I heard she retired. Yeah, Judge Gold retired. And when they've literally put him in a psychotic state by giving him psychotic medications but claim he's not psychotic, I mean, God knows what he would say or do at that point. So, you know, there was another person, and oh my God, I followed this case so close that me and Dolly did a live on it when he was arrested, and it was Austin Drummond in Tennessee, where the 4 people were unalived by Austin Drummond. He's now admitted that he did, in fact, take them people out, but he claims that it was in self-defense, that they were going there to set him up and that they were going to get him, which I kind of believe, but I don't know, because, you know, bad person, you've done bad stuff all your life, so, I mean, who's to say you're not just saying that just to say it, but they were all involved in criminal activity. Austin Drummond is now in prison without having been tried, and he was in a gang, and so he basically snitched out and was an informant, and then when his cover got blown, he claims that they were all setting him up and meeting him there to take him out. And then they claim they put him in the prison for his protection, which, again, another case that's like, are you really protecting him, or are you taking away his right? Because last time I checked, you're not going to be put away until you have a trial. But these cases and these people in these little areas seem to just think that, you know, they do what they want. Almost to 100 likes. We have 98 likes. Yeah! Thank you, guys. Cooking with Big Daddy. And, you know, he took a plea. Cooking with Big Daddy. He took a guilty plea and got a lesser sentence. Thank you, my PTSD brain, fueled by, I can't see the whole name. I was curious to read it out loud, but I can't see it. But thank you so much. Gifted a membership to Mimi Tanya. Thank you so much. Cooking with Big Daddy. Cover Michael Vaughn, please. Yeah, I discussed Michael Vaughn this morning a little bit when I first started. I've been here for 42 minutes this morning. Crazy. Today is Michael Monkey Vaughn's day of justice. We're going to have Stacey Wanderer in court for preliminary day 1. His case is going to last until the 6th, and it's just a preliminary. So basically, we're going through what we have as far as evidence and whether or not we're going to proceed with trial. Wasn't Big Daddy Tanaka Brown or something like that? It was either Tanaka Brown or the other one. But yeah. Anyways, I got a sun balloon. Thank you, my girl Tiff. So yeah, I think I pretty much discussed everything and anything I could possibly talk about today. Yay! I was won in a mystery gift. It's got little feet. I walked across the street. That one's my favorite. Thank you, Helena. But yeah, Michael Monkey Vaughn, Stacey Wanderer, and everybody's like, well, when are they going to charge the other people? What about the other people? He is nasty. Stacey Wanderer is a just big, fat, sloppy, nasty, gross. He was up there just farting and burping and, oh God, I had to convince Dolly to let him up on his panel. He was going to be freaking mean to him. And I'm like, we gotta be nice so that he comes up here and talks, because a lot of people get mad when people in court cases or any of these cases that we follow, a lot of people get mad when they go up on YouTube channels. And it's like, you know, anytime that somebody talks, it's a good thing, because you can compare the things they say to things they've said before or to things they're going to say. And anything can and will be used against you on the internet. It's always forever. It's never erasable. Even if I'm, like, if I ended the stream and deleted the video, I guarantee you somebody has a copy of it. And the internet archives and the God knows what else. But you can always find a copy of what you said. Dolly said you can look up to see where the helicopter was looking. Besides, in that county, they supposedly was looking for Nancy's pacemaker in the adjacent county. Yeah, that's true. That was a different helicopter. The helicopter that I was talking about earlier was the one above the landfill. It was like one of the last days that it was there. It was doing a grid search over the landfill. And some people were just saying it was just taking down the measurements of the land. But then other people still said it was a private helicopter that was hired to scan the landfill for Nancy, which I don't know. It's still possible. I believe it's possible. Thank you for the heart, my PTSD. And thank you, Carmela, for the makeup brush. And I got a cool star envelope. What is that? I haven't seen that one before. I like that one. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. Did you cook for Dolly Vision in the morning? Cooking with Mr. Good Looking, Mr. Alex. Dolly makes me dinner because he's the best. And I definitely don't have time barely to roll out the bed in the morning. So no, he was asleep, then he was awake, so I'm not even really sure. But usually he's sleeping this early. Last night they said they were looking for Nancy in the desert in the adjacent county. I don't know how they would have gotten her to that desert in the adjacent county. That's the thing that I don't like. I mean, it sounds good. Hey, we're going to search for her over here. But like, how did they get her there without anybody knowing or seeing? Or I don't know. I don't know that I believe that she's that far. I think she's more closer than we all think. And I think that, I don't know. I don't know what to think. Thank you, Helena. I love that envelope. Anyways, I gotta run. It was on Banfield. Oh, okay. I mean, I believe it. I don't know if they're just doing that to save face, like just to look good, or if they're actually got a lead or something they're actually looking at that's relevant. Because just because, you know, they're looking over here doesn't mean they know that she's there or they think that she's there even. I think a lot of times the stuff that we see is stuff that they want us to see. Thank you, my PTSD. I love the little gifts. They're so cute. I gotta put my shoes on. I've got myself all comfortable. I've been sitting here with you guys for 47 minutes. It's different, but I definitely had a good time. I think it's possible that Nancy's protective custody for some reason. I don't think they would waste all the resources and do all this. I get up at 4 to cook breakfast for hubby. See, you are the ideal wife then, Carmela. Heck yeah. Dang, go back to bed later in the morning. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. My makeup's on point. I did it before I came live. I was going to do makeup with you guys. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just came up here and I'm like, hey. But I was going to do it with you guys. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to scare you guys when I open my screen. So I figured I might as well just start. It's very good that he cooks for you. Dolly Vision, a good cook. Yeah, he definitely cooks good food. We've had chicken and lots of more chicken. We've been going to the gym too. I've only missed one of the days that he's been, but it's been great. It makes you really feel good. Like if you don't think that you can exercise, you can, and it'll definitely make you feel better. As much as I complain about it every time he's like, all right, we're going to the gym. And I'm just like, it always makes me feel better when I'm done. So you do feel better with makeup too. Yeah. Still watching you from Kenya, Africa. Awesome. Do you sleep better? I think so. We got potatoes in Idaho. I like potatoes. I sometimes feel like I look like potato. You got to take your daughter to school, Iowa. Well, have a good day. PTSD, brain. And thank you, Rachel. Rachton. All right, I better end it on a good note before I start mispronouncing everybody's name and not saying words correctly. I got 5 minutes to get in here, though, so you guys are the best. Thank you so much for being here with me, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bicycle!